This one panel right here totally changed the energy of this page. The student who made this comic, he had ideas, he had characters, but the execution needed help. Today, I'm showing you how we fixed it and how you can fix this problem in your comics. Now, this comic was drawn by Tim Uy. It's called Cosmic Casuals. It's about a chicken in a mech suit, which honestly is amazing. The concept, wild. The passion, undeniable. But when I first saw these pages at a workshop I was teaching, something wasn't clicking. The problem wasn't the story, it was the clarity. The poses felt a little stiff, the action didn't quite read in places, and the stakes, you could tell, were high, but the way it was drawn, it made them feel low. And that's the number one mistake I see in comics, is chasing cool instead of clear. Now, if you've ever made a comic and felt like something was off, it might be this exact issue. Real quick, I'm not just some random guy on the internet fixing people's art. I'm a professional comic artist who's worked with companies like Scholastic and Marvel on books like Spider-Man, Rocket Raccoon, and my own graphic novel series, Missile Mouse. Most recently, I drew Darkstalker for the Wings of Fire series over at Scholastic. Now, I love drawing comics. I'm grateful I get to do it professionally. And I want to teach you how to do it at a professional level too. And that's why a few months ago, I taught a weekend workshop on making comics. And the artwork we're fixing today came directly from that event. By the way, I'm teaching a full course next month all about making graphic novels. Enrollment for that ends next week or at the end of the month. So join me, and I'm going to help you get your proposal ready for publishers by midsummer if you join that course. Okay. Back to this main thing we're going to learn today is clarity over cool, the importance of establishing shot, and dynamic staging, which are all things that are going to help make your comics just have a lot more impact. Okay, let's break it down panel by panel, pose by pose, and by the end, you'll know how to spot and solve this in your own work. Okay, first things first here, this is our main character who is the chicken in a mech suit. I forget her name, but we'll just call it Chicken in a Mech Suit. She's climbing up the side of a building. We meet the bad guy, which is a lizard in a mech suit. There's actually another lizard in the middle of the mech suit. So it's two lizards in a mech suit, which, this is fun. This is absolutely good stuff. And what are they carrying? They're holding hostage a little child. So, the stakes are pretty high. Next, we see the vehicle, their rocket ship, show up. You can see in this panel, Benson uncloaked the ship. Yes, sir. The ship uncloaks. And then the lizard gets his attention called to him, and he turns to look and sees the chicken in a mech suit. Let her go right now. Okay. He just laughs. This is his bargaining chip, right? And so, this just infuriates Chicken in a mech suit. And he jumps up into the ship. The chicken looks up, please don't do this. And then we see a POV of the chicken here. There's some more back and forth. He's not budging. Chicken gets angry and starts firing up the rocket boot, and then flies straight towards towards the lizards and attack them. All right, we see this page flying closer. Child is reaching out. The hands almost grasp each other, and then boom, hand is shot away. And then we see what's going on here. The lizard actually is climbing out of the suit and has his own little pistol, and he's just blasting away at Chicken in a mech suit. Reaction shots from the both of them. Chicken is falling to her death, and the evil lizard just laughs. Maybe it's a gecko. I don't know. Sorry, Tim. And last page here in the samples that were given to me, we see, final reaction to the child. No, the chicken falling out of the suit, and then cut to another character who might be coming to the rescue. I don't know. It's a good little cliffhanger. So how did we go in and fix this? How do we fix this comic, and what actually needs to be fixed on this comic? First things first, you're going to see a few things I fixed on this page right here. I really want a more dynamic pose as we're being introduced to our character in this scene. So we're moving that hand way into the foreground. And then you can see here, this is like a pretty action-packed panel, but it's maybe the smallest panel on the page, right? Let's bring that panel and elongate it down to the bottom of the page and really show the movement that's happening here. Also, it's kind of a weird angle where we're seeing kind of like a 3/4 view. Let's go straight side-on view. It makes it a little bit more simple, which makes it clearer, but you still don't lose any of the energy. All right, now we've got an establishing shot here. These are 2 establishing shots, right? So we're showing our character, but not really in context what's going on here. Then the establishing shot gives us context. They're climbing up or jumping up the side of a building. With this character, we don't know where they're standing. We don't know how big they are. We don't know what this whole character looks like. So let's show the entire body of this character and show them where they're standing and show this baby dangling. So they're on the rooftop. And we see here, they're having a little exchange here. Benson, uncloak the ship. The lizard in the belly says, yes, sir. Let's get some close-ups of these 2 lizards interacting with each other. That way we get some close-ups of their faces in here as well and really introduce these characters. Next page. This ship is coming out of being uncloaked. We've got this tiny character down here, and really this whole page could just use a lot more punch, a lot more oomph to it. So each one of these panels needs to be changed here. And what I did was, let's bring this camera down, the POV down back behind this character, bring them big into the foreground here. Okay. Have that ship a little bit smaller, but still as powerful, and show all this energy like it coming out of some sort of cloaking thing or another dimension or something. This is just a little bit more dynamic angle, but it still reads clearly. Have the character actually turning their head and looking behind them. This is going to tell the viewer that the context of where these 2 characters are with each other. You can see here the character is not turning. Maybe the eyes are kind of looking back, but really want to work on your staging, your theatrics here, and have that character turn, and then have this character, the chicken and mech suit, really show itself where, presenting itself. I'm on the scene now. I'm ready to take action, and let that be the largest panel here and make it really powerful. Do some foreshortening with the arm there moving, pointing straight at us, and put them in more of an action pose as they're just climbing up over the ledge. You can see here, they're just sort of standing there. Let's really bring some energy to it. My teaching partner, Sean Crystal for Graphic Novel Pro, he talks about the hierarchy of a page and how each page needs to have a king panel. And then there's all these supporting panels to it, right? And so figure out on each page what's the king panel. For this one, I made it this panel right here. Like everything sort of wraps around this panel of showing this dramatic situation and the stakes that are happening here. And this one, it's sort of a reaction to that. Now it's the consequence of having a child, as your bargaining chip. Okay, let's go to this page. This page, not bad at all. Wouldn't change much on it. All I did was made this panel a little bit more dynamic, pulled back, and showed this character whipping their arm around. In this panel, they turn their head around, and now they're whipping the whole body around and showing, don't shoot at me. I've got your precious child in hand. I wouldn't change anything else. I love this panel right here. This is a great POV. Like the camera is low, looking up at this chicken in a mech suit. Really well done. All right, this panel, there's a couple things here that can really give it a lot more energy and action. Number one, I would just remove that middle panel there and make it one big panel and just show this rocket boot charging up, getting all this energy, and then make this panel here show the release of all that energy in a very exciting, dramatic way. And I think what happens here is we pull out a little too far from these characters. I want to be in close to them and show all of this energy being released and this explosion happening, and put this character in a really cool dynamic pose and just direct our eye towards where they're headed. I think this reads a little bit clearer. And a lot of times clarity does bring a lot more energy and a little bit more dynamic staging to the page. Okay, this page, perfect, wouldn't change a thing. This page is pretty good. Just two subtle things I would fix on it. Number one, this ramp right here, and number two, this ramp right here. Let's just shorten them up. And, when we got this ramp going off panel, it almost feels like it's still on the ground, like the ship has landed on the ground and we're not up in the sky. But by cutting it off right there and showing the sky there ups the visual stakes of this, like, oh, we're in some real danger here. And then you can see here how they're just barely off the edge of the ramp right there. Well, here they're farther away from it. It shows them falling back even farther. So a sense of motion and time has happened between these two panels. And then the last page here, only one fix on this page. I think these bottom two panels work really well. I just think we need a much more dynamic pose for this character right here, these characters right here. And so what I did was really brought the child into the foreground even more so and brought these characters back, but put them in a nice foreshortening pose with that arm coming out towards us and giving this character a nice silhouette, which Tim really did here as well, but it's sort of a straight on view. Let's just turn these characters a little bit sideways and give this much better, more dynamic shot for them right there. Okay, so look at the difference between what Tim did and what I was able to help him with here. It's the same idea, it's the same characters, but now the story hits a little harder. The action feels more alive. The stakes are clear. And that's really the power of critique. It's not to tear someone down, not to tear down their work, but to level them up and to build up the thing that they're already making. Tim came in knowing something wasn't working with his comic. He just didn't know what. And that's really where clarity comes in. When you're working on your own comics, take a step back, look at them and see, is clarity taking precedence over trying to be cool? And make that your number one goal when making comics. And anytime you're wondering, well, how do I make it clearer? Look at, are you doing establishing shots? How's your staging? Are your poses a little bit more dynamic? Those types of things are really going to help your comic pages pop and look amazing. So if you've been grinding on your comic and something still feels off, you might be making these same mistakes. The good news is you can fix them. That's what I teach inside Graphic Novel Pro. It's a step-by-step process to help you go from rough idea to a polished, publishable comic proposal that you can then take to editors and they're going to look at it and be like, oh, I'm dealing with a professional here. Or you can post them online or you can launch a Kickstarter with it and people are going to see that and say, wow, this person really knows what they're doing. I want to support them. What I did here was just a few pages. Imagine what you could do to your entire graphic novel story. And that's what I'm trying to teach in Graphic Novel Pro. By the way, Tim made his own video about this a few months ago. You got to check it out. He's got a great YouTube channel and he's making some really fun comics. So do check out his YouTube page, his Instagram account as well, and see what he's doing over there. But if you found this helpful, you might be wondering, what are the other big things I'm missing when I'm making comics? And if that's you, check out this last video I made. I break down the 12 commandments of making comics that every creator should know. And if you're ready to take your comics seriously, again, there's a link below for the full Graphic Novel Pro course. I hope to see you there. All right, see you next video.